Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are joining me this morning for another Bible Journaling with Me video. If you have never been on my channel before, I just want to say welcome. I am Rosalind Yukich, and on this channel I talk about all things homeschooling, keto, and Bible journaling. And right now I am doing a series through the book of Philippians. You can go to my blog. You'll find the link in the description below. And there on my blog, you will find the entire Bible study through the book of Philippians. I have written content as well as these Bible journaling videos. It is all completely free for you to download from my blog. And today we are starting in Philippians 3. And we will be looking at Philippians 3 verse 7 today. It is a little bit of a shorter verse than what I often do, but I believe it's going to be very powerful. Now, again, if you haven't joined me before, my Bible journaling is not about making my page look beautiful and artful, because I am not very artful. But what I like to do is I like to grab my concordance and I like to dig down deep into the words in the original language. So what I use washi tape for basically is to sort of divide off my page, not to make my page look cute and beautiful and whimsical, but to just sort of be useful. Washi tape for me is all about being useful. So, I had a little issue here. I had this problem last week with this. It's okay, we're just going to leave it just like that. Okay, so what I do is I divide off my page into 3 sections. I write in this section above. That is where I write out my verse or passage that I'm going to be studying. In this narrow section here, I write out all of the keywords, and then in this larger section, I rewrite out the verse or passage in my own words. So the verse today says, "But what things were gained to me, these I have counted loss for Christ." And so we're just going to go ahead and write out that verse right here, and then we will look at the keywords. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to highlight all of the key words that I find in this passage, in this verse. But what things, and I'm pretty sure that this word is probably just going to be what we anticipate it to be, but sometimes we get surprised. If you've looked at any of my previous Bible journaling videos, you will see that sometimes these words actually surprise you. But what things were gain to me, these things I have counted loss for Christ. I'm really excited about checking out this verse, because I think that, we live in a culture, in this, the previous few generations, definitely my generation growing up, are some of the most wealthiest generations in all of human history. And I believe that sometimes that can be to our disadvantage. While we, are able to afford more, we can do more, we have more technology, we have more knowledge in science and all of this for the first time in all of history. Sometimes I think that actually gets our focus off of Christ. And so the things that were gained to him, he counted as loss. Sometimes, I think we need to go through that journey and understanding that things are tools. They aren't our identity. They aren't what make us who we are. And so this is going to be, I think, an exciting verse. We're going to take these keywords now and we're going to write them out in this column. There aren't going to be that many, so I'm going to leave lots of space so I can take notes. We have things, we have gain, we have counted, and loss. We don't have that many. This verse is so brief. And so I use Strong's Concordance, which is taken from the King James Version of the Bible. And so I'm going to go through here. The Strong's Concordance gives you a Greek corresponding word for every word in the New Testament. There is also a Strong's for the Old Testament using the Hebrew corresponding words. So the first word that we come to is things. Okay, so this word means who, whatever, whoever. And I think that I find it really interesting, actually, that we have words like who and whoever. So it's not just inanimate objects, it's also people. Those people who were gain to me, these I counted as loss for Christ. We could really take that and say a lot about it, because those people in my life that I have gained in my life, that have been a blessing to me, I count them as loss for Christ. They aren't as important to me as Christ is to me. And we see that echoed in Jesus' words when he said that if you're not willing to, to forsake mother, father, brother, sister for him, to follow him, then you cannot be his disciple. So I think that is really interesting. That brings a whole new depth, really, of meaning to this verse. So like I said, words like such as things, looking them up in the Greek, maybe you won't discover anything there, but maybe you will. And I think we discover something here. So our next word is gain, and this is advantage. And this can mean, they use the old English word lucre, which is, we're just going to put that there. Lucre, which is, money, wealth. And money in the sense really of wealth or acquiring. Those things, those people, whatever, whoever were, we acquired that brought wealth into our life, that gave us advantage. These things I have counted as loss for Christ. So we're going to go back to the word counted, to consider, to deem, to think, and that really is very logical about this word. And then now we're going to look at the word loss. This is really interesting. Damage. So I guess, or detriment. Detriment is another. We have in the financial realm, we have the words asset and deficit. And so, we would look at this as more of a deficit, something that is going to count negatively against us. So, now we can look at this verse and say, whatever or whoever gave advantage to my life, brought wealth, brought prosperity into my life, these things I consider as a detriment to me for Christ. Why? Because they're going to lead him, they're going to distract him from following Christ like he needs to. They're going to be a distraction to him. They aren't going to bring that spiritual advantage to his life. They've brought a physical advantage to his life. They've brought an earthly advantage, but they haven't brought a spiritual advantage. And this is why Jesus said, lay your treasures up in heaven, not here on earth. Those things that bring advantage to your life here on earth, those things can be tools when they're necessary, but really where you want your heart to be, where you want your treasure to be is in heaven. So look for those things that are going to bring you a spiritual advantage, spiritual wealth, spiritual prosperity, and all of the rest we need to look at as a possible detriment to us, possible damage to us, because they can so distract us from what is really important that we lose sight of what God really has for us. So now I'm going to rewrite this verse out in my own words. So I looked at my notes because I remembered when I was doing the study that I had seen a word in the study portion of my Bible that I thought was better even than deficit, and that was liability. That was really the word I was looking for. So, but whatever or whoever have brought wealth, prosperity, and advantage to my life, these I deem a detriment, a distraction, a liability to me for Christ. And as I was writing this out, I remembered what came to my mind was the prosperity gospel. This is where it gets it all wrong, because it's not about being prosperous here on earth. It's not about having a big house and a big car and a great job and designer clothing and going on, big adventures and trips and around the world and things like that. That is not what the Bible talks about. As a matter of fact, in this verse, it is what it is talking against. It's saying the things that have brought me wealth and prosperity and advantage in this earth, I'm going to count them as a distraction. They are a detriment to me. They are a liability to me because they get my eyes off of Christ. Why? Because they're shiny little toys that keep our attention on them and take our eyes off of Christ. And so we need to follow Paul's words and realize that, people can be a distraction, can be a liability to us if they are coming between us and Christ. Things definitely can be a distraction, a liability to us if they distract us from Christ. And so when we realize this is happening to us, we need to consider them loss. And even the good things that maybe aren't distracting to us, maybe they aren't threatening to take our eyes off of Christ, we still need to put them in proper perspective. They are tools. They are tools that perhaps God will use in our life to bring people into the kingdom. But if at any time those tools become too important to us, then we need to do what Paul said later on in this chapter. We need to forsake them. We need to put them behind us. Why? For the cause of Christ. Maybe this sounds radical, but to be really honest, radical Christianity is what he is looking for. He is looking for us to take radical steps to follow him and to put him above all. And that is exactly what Paul is talking about in this verse. So I hope that this was a challenge to you. I know it was definitely a challenge to me. I hope and pray that it was that it just makes you stop and to think about your own spiritual journey right now and to ask yourself, what steps do I need to take to get my eyes more focused on Christ? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave me a thumbs up and leave me a note in the comments and let me know. Also, don't forget to follow my channel and ring that bell for notifications so you get notified anytime new content goes up. I do upload to my channel 2 or 3 times a week, and so you might want to go check out some of those other videos that I have on my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!